Although getting a hold of you is harder than getting an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. It's only taken 2 years, Steve. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the HazMat podcast, episode number 45. We're talking about keeping us honest, and we have a special guest today, Steve from Trace Asbestos. Steve is an assessor, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how the removal sausage is made, or at least your part of the removal sausage.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah,
no worries. Cheers. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you actually became an assessor.
So I ended up doing sport and exercise science many years ago. That science led me into a bit of DIY home stuff. Purchased a home with asbestos and learned a bit about it. So that led me down a pathway of getting involved in, first of all, surveying and then into the assessor role. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what does an assessor do and how do they fit into the removal puzzle? What's an assessor?
So we look at, first of all, the paperwork side of things, making sure that there's notification to WorkSafe, making sure that the appropriate trained staff are on site. There's quite a bit of, as you're aware, bit of paperwork that goes into before the work starts.
Bane of my life.
The notification to WorkSafe, the neighbours, everybody who owns the building. There's a long list of paperwork. So the first part is viewing that, making any corrections or adding any advice or anything about that. Then, of course, we have, if it's an A class, we have daily monitoring or reassurance testing outside of that enclosure. In fact, actually, before we even start that, we normally do an enclosure check, make sure that it's all fit for purpose. There's no leaks or anything in there, so the integrity is good. We run all that process, and then at the end of it, it's a visual inspection to make sure that all asbestos has been removed. There's no dust or debris left behind. We run equipment that verifies that it's a safe to occupy, and then issue a compliance certificate that shows us that this has been conducted under the legislation and it's been conducted, it's now fit to occupy again.
You mentioned before we came on air as such, but you put it really in a really good sort of explanatory, very good explanation. Yeah. You said, we're, as removalists, we've got removalists, and then you've got on the other side the legislation, following the rules and following all the procedures, and you're kind of in the middle as the...
Yeah, we're kind of like the neutral referee. Yeah. So we technically sit independently of... So we're representing ourselves effectively on site, but we're licensed from WorkSafe, so we have strict protocols and they have procedures under the legislations and laws that we follow them. Mm-hmm. And then we're somewhat in the middle of the building owner or the contractor and someone like yourself as a removalist. So we're making sure that the removalists are doing a good standard, but at the same time the homeowner is getting a fair deal as well. So we're kind of sometimes in between. Mm. Sometimes there can be a fluctuation in there, but most of the time we're unbiased in theory, I suppose. Yeah.
You represent yourselves, but your job is clearly set out under the guidelines of WorkSafe.
Yeah. Yep. So we can be engaged by the homeowner or the business owner, or we can be engaged by the removalists in the middle. But effectively, we're working for everybody and nobody. We're not picking a side, so to speak of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And tell me about. You're obviously a busy man, and it's hard to get a hold of you, as I kind of mentioned, for things like this. But what's a typical day? What are some of the challenges that you face just on a normal day at work? I'm sure you've got more than one job to babysit.
Yeah, so some days it's a bit of calendar Tetris, I suppose. We've got certain jobs that we know are scheduled. Some of them take longer than expected. Some of them are finished earlier than expected. So there's sometimes a bit of juggling of schedules and time zones, so to speak of. Yeah, and on top of that as well, we have to work with the laboratories to provide, and again, independent testing analysis. So we're at the mercy of them sometimes to pull results as well. Yeah.
So you can kind of be the meat in the sandwich a little bit.
Sometimes,
when removalists are screaming at you for answers, and then you're waiting on the lab, and then you're kind of stuck in the middle and trying to get things signed off.
It's a concertina of getting squished for time, but at the same time we can also have big gaps open up in our day, so we've got to fill that with other options as well. Yeah.
I take it you've become quite good at working out of your vehicle when you are sort of juggling multiple sites.
Yeah. Our vehicle's effectively our toolbox, our office, our everything. So yeah, we can. You'll sometimes find me pulling up a laptop in the back seat of there, finishing off reports from the previous sites. Yeah.
What? Just give us, as a bonus question, give us a couple of traits that would make a really good assessor. Like I'll give you one. Attention to detail is probably a big one, but.
Yeah, attention to detail. So finer details as well. So often, and you'll find this with a lot of the removalists who can put the muscle into a job, but then there's the little fine details of the looking for the crumbs and looking for the just the final bits, so that the tapes, the staples that are in the end. So the attention to details definitely there. Definitely having some building knowledge. We have to go under buildings, on roofs and roof voids, some of the places that most people don't like to go in. Luckily enough, at the end of that process, it's all been cleaned by guys like yourself, so all the spiders and and rat poo and birds' nests have often all been cleaned out at the same time.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, definitely you don't want to be claustrophobic or anything in our job, or you've got to be able to, a bit of common sense is really the main thing, I suppose. Yeah.
I've found with some sort of more complex removals that the assessor is very helpful if they're kind of pragmatic and understanding and can help when things aren't just black and white, that you sometimes need to modify or adjust a plan to make something work safely. Yeah.
One of my famous words is from the WorkSafe guidance, is as far as reasonably practical. And that is, you've got to use that. Sometimes it would be ideal to get every little piece out of it, but sometimes it's just not practical. So we sometimes have to put tags in and or make other alternative solutions, sealing up items, leaving some stuff in situ sometimes. So yeah. Yep.
And we're going to talk on another episode in the future a little bit about your survey experience, because I understand, we know you're an asbestos surveyor too. But what I wanted to do was talk about how many years you've actually had in the industry now. If you look at the whole, surveying and assessing, you've been around for a wee while, right?
Yeah, I think it's 10 years. It's just crept over. Yeah.
10 years. Congratulations.
That's that's a sentence right there.
It's a good stint. So, Steve, just going to wrap it up for you. If someone would like to engage you to get in touch with you for your services in terms of assessing asbestos removals, how can we get a hold of you?
Pretty easy. Look us up on the web, pretty much, in your Google search, www.traceasbestos.co.nz. You'll find our phone numbers, email addresses, Facebook links, Instagram links. You'll find them all there. Just look us up. I've
seen quite a smart looking advertising campaign out there for you. You're doing the billboards and everything. They look nice, so well done. And you're expanding too, aren't you?
Yeah, so as you said, we've been pretty busy, so I have managed to keep that as a one-man band for a while, and I've obviously been looking for the right person, like you talked about, someone who has attention to detail. So we've employed our first employee, and so it's Brad, and he's currently going through his assessor training at the moment, so he's passed the course. We've now just got to get him registered, and he's away. Yeah,
amazing. I love to see you go from 0 to, gosh, what are you up to now? 100 mile an hour in about 2 years. So,
Yeah.
all right, everybody. Look, thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you here, Steve. I appreciate you giving your valuable time to shed a little bit of light on how assessing works. And as I say, we'll get you back very soon, hopefully to talk about the survey side of it. But with that, I think that brings us to the end of episode 45. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see everybody next week with another episode of the HazMat podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, done.
Easy.
That was easy, eh?